Hello people, this is Ryder here to review the Armor Hero Star Ray Thunder Armor Summoning Belt. Now, technically, in particular, I think they called this Subline New World Edition, unless that's just a literal translation. I'll have the correct title in the title, obviously. But anyways, this is the transformation device for Armor Hero Star Ray, and obviously in this set particular, this is the set comprising of the arsenal, the gear for Armor Hero Ray Thunder, the titular hero for Armor Hero Star Ray. So, getting into the box, we have the Star Ray Summoning Belt, as it's officially called. Front and center with the Thunder Armor card holder. It comprises of 6 of the shine cards, or it says it comprises of 6 shine cards. And then again, I will actually try to translate the order. Obviously this is from Aldi, or I think it's Aldry. This, I really do like the suit picture here, where it just, I really do like the simplicity of the boxes for Star Ray. Again, there's Star Ray, Armor Hero, and then the bottom has instructions on how to replace the batteries and such. And the side here, excuse me, we just have a side profile, or a front-facing profile for Ray Thunder. On both sides, actually. Oops. And then the back just tells you how to use it and such, which I think is pretty simple. Tells you there's up to 160 sounds. Tells you to use it with the Thunder Falchion, or tells you to play with that. And this also states that this is voice activated. Now, that would typically be it for the box, but if you couldn't tell from this, we can actually slide this out like so. And we get a nice inner box and such. So this was actually just an outer sleeve. Oops, you can't even see that. This has just been an outer sleeve. And this is the actual box. So we get a nice view, like purple pink tint of Ray Thunder. Of his summoning belt. We got the logo. We have a close-up picture of Ray Thunder. Again, the sides are the same. And we just get the Star Ray logo, but in pink and such. So, now with that dealt with, we can now actually move on and proceed with the set. Alright, so here we have the contents out of the box, to which we have the summoning belt itself, the card holder, we have the cards themselves, and then we got the belt straps. So obviously we'll take a look at the summoner first. I apologize for doing the opposite for the Captor summoning belt. Also, I apologize for this one being one of the most egregious videos you're going to have to see of this thing, because I'm going to have to just use Gaussian blur. So, here we have the Star Ray Summoning Belt, as it's primarily called, and overall it's a really sleek design. It's mainly a black base with gold prominent, and then we have metallic red at the top and such. I have to point this out. Obviously, there should be gold paint here with silver accents right there. And then I do like, obviously this is supposed to be like a constellation. I don't remember the exact star, mythical star pattern they're going for, because obviously this is supposed to be like the galaxy and like planets and such, but I really do like the red, yellow, and green right here. And then we got like grills kind of like there, and this is where the speaker is. Then we have red transparent plastic here for the cards and such. Overall, you know, it's a pretty sleek design and such. Then here we have the inner silver for the center piece and such, as it's a giant dome. Like overall, well, silver and gold here too. And then this top part here is chrome, interestingly. Makes sense. And then just to point this out, there's a small hole there for what we'll point out later. But you know, what I wanted to say is that despite, like, I think this thing looks really neat overall. And size-wise, it is nice, despite not being still one-to-one with the prop. The prop version of this thing is still pretty gigantic, because they have to hold it like this. But obviously when you do that, you mainly cover up the entire thing, so which is why you might as well just hold it like this. Now I'm trying to avoid the back because this is unfortunate on my end, but if we were to face it to the back, you know, for the most part, again, I think the inner designs is nice. Again, I think they are doing a better job at hiding the like copyright and like trademarks and such by literally putting it in the belt loop. And you know, just don't throw it out. And I think this is a warranty thing. But other than that, that is pretty basic. You might be wondering, where's the battery cover? Mine did not come with one. So as you can already see already, this thing requires 3 AAA batteries, to which we will replace because we have to show something when we get to that. So I might as... There goes that. Almost dingy red. Again, we will get to this later. As you can see here, this is clearly like a screw hole, like literally a factory worker just did not put a battery cover in before packaging it, so that's unfortunate on my end. So we will turn it like that, so then I can avoid editing less. But might as well cut to what I guess has been a topic, the belt straps for this series. Now, for this belt, if you have been collecting Kamen Rider belts, this is practically one-to-one. We have a belt buckle, or a belt cover, which is, oh, this is yellow. I don't know if that's show accurate. But yeah, this entire system works the exact same. And I had it upside down, unfortunately. So, yeah, the plastic quality is kind of the same as a Ryder belt, like a Ryder DX belt. It's, you know, it's no longer pliable. So these are ones you have to figure of shaping through. So obviously use at your own risk and such. But other than that, I don't mind this change. Like this, just because, you know, the hunter or the horse armor summoning belt and like the captor belts, you know, like, I mean, I still think the captor belt was probably the most feasible one, but I don't know, like, I get why I guess this just was not received well, because again, my only issue was just you couldn't unloop them from the actual belt and such. But other than that, I thought this was pretty creative with how they did that, or how they went through with this, but I think also for the sake of actually being able to, like, for adult collectors to actually wear it, this was just the easier way, because you can stick a Ryder extension belt piece to here and then still be able to wear it. And these are finally marked left and right and such. I don't remember if we already did that. But again, these work the exact same. So all you do simply is just hook. You press these in, you hook them into these holes, and then you push this in one side. Unfortunately, this is a lot more difficult to do than annual Ryder ones, because the plastic feels tougher, or it's not as flexible, but there. And as you can see from here, I just don't like the fact that it's just permanently kind of stuck swaying one way just because of its length. But other than that, here we have the Star Ray Summoning Belt fully attached. It's not bad. It's not bad, because I really do like how the yellow and gold complement each other and such. And again, it covers the absence of the battery cover. But other than that, we won't really go over it too much. So we'll actually move on to the cards next, which actually come in this little packet. They call this just the Thunder Armor card holder. So, alright, the Wraith Thunder card holder and such. It's not too bad. It's kind of bent from up here, but I get it. And just pull out the 6 included cards and such. So, going over the first 2 cards, we obviously have our main transformation card of Armor Hero Wraith Thunder and such. But with this, I wanted to go over obviously just the attributes of, or just like the aspects of the cards and such. So basically, to identify, or basically just like points of these cards, is that obviously it's like these 3 up here that are like indicators of what card type they are and such. So up here will like signify the element of that card, and then the corner up here will signify the card type. So obviously in this case here, this is an armor card and such because it's a transformation card. The letter over here will be the rarity and such. So obviously this one is SR, and then this one is N for normal and such. And then in the bottom half is kind of weird. Obviously we have a barcode, but it's a barcode. Obviously we have the name of the card right there. We have, for these armor cards specifically, they have a like bar, a 7-meter bar, and then points next to it. They don't mean anything as of now. And what's most baffling is that the descriptions are blurred for all of these cards, which is weird, because all the cards have the same exact description, but they went through the effort to like blur it out. It's weird. Now, this does have an annual way of like finding a way to number the cards. As you can see, you get AH6-A101, which, to transcribe that, obviously AH is Armor Hero, 6 is the fact that Star Ray is the 6th series within the franchise. So this is Armor Hero 6. And then obviously with the second half, this is A stands for Armor. And then 1 obviously is Star Ray and such. Because he's the primary hero. And then obviously this is the first card of his. So this is Armor 101. So this fully transcribes as Armor Hero 6, Armor 101. That wouldn't be too bad of a numbering system if we go off of this. Now this one, you can't really, I guess you can argue, well, it doesn't need to be a different number because you already know that it's a different rarity and such. So again, both of these are Armor Hero 6, Armor 101. But yeah, so the first 2 cards you get is the super rare variant and the normal rare variant. And then turning it around, you get the back of the cards, to which I think they're neat, especially with the star constellation pattern and such. We get the Aldi not trademark logo there, Star Ray. I don't know if it's gonna come out well, but like, yeah, it's not really, yeah, there it is. So as you can see there, this is kind of embossed. So, and same with the constellations. They all obviously have the same back. Again, the whole conceptualization of the shine cards. Did I even say they were called that? The whole conceptualization of the shine cards are obviously based off of the cards from the first series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then watch the review of this release that I did last week. I'm not going to take the cards out. Plus, these are bigger than those cards anyway. Next up, we have our skill card, which the rest of these are normal. But again, to know that it's a skill card, it's identified up there and such. So there's that. I will quickly figure out what this is. Lightning Thunder Fist. We would just go with that. It was giving me medicine, but it's just Thunder Fist. We will just summarize it as. And as I said before, these skill cards don't have a bar, but they have additional points, which I don't know what they're for. But this is what I mean, where this numbering system just kind of gets thrown out of the window. Because while the first half is similar, of like Armor Hero 6, the second half is different. Now it's S101, which obviously I think if you can tell, S will most likely stand for skill. So this means this is Armor Hero 6, Skill 101. This one's at least not as confusing as the armor cards, though, so I will give it that. And then last but not least, we have our third type of shine cards. We have the gear cards and such. So this is of Ray Thunder's primary weapons, the Thunder Cone, and the Thunder Hammer, or is it the Lightning Hammer? So again, we have a silhouette of Ray Thunder right there. Again, it's a Thunder attribute with, obviously this points out this is a gear card, and then obviously it's a normal rarity. Yeah, again, it has an additional 500 points. Now this one is Armor Hero 6 G101, which obviously we will go with gear. So it's Gear 101. So we have 3 numbering systems within these cards if you're trying to organize them. You organize them by armor, skill, and gear. Now you know that. Let's move on to the last 2 cards for this set. obviously, because Star Rail's an anniversary series, we have Eagle Man from the first series. So, obviously, he's not a weird choice, obviously, because they're just trying to match the attributes, despite the fact Eagle Man is not thunder, he's wind, but we will get to that later. And, like, I think, I forgot to comment before, like, I do think the art here is nice and such. And, again, we'll point this out, but, like, despite him being thunder, he actually has a slightly different background than Ray Thunder to help emphasize his actual element, which I do appreciate. Now, when Eagle is his full name, now with Eagle Man, I think what you can get at this point, if you understood what I was trying to decipher, this wants to focus. As you can see here, this is AH1-A201. To which, to break it down, this is Armor Hero 1, Armor 201. Obviously, because he's the second armor to debut within the first show. Last but not least, we have his skill card, which is the Wind Eagle Kick, as you can see being depicted here. And then, again, AH1-S201. So I hope you get what this means and such, because I hope that I explained that well enough and such. But that's why I wanted to cover the cards first, because it can definitely get confusing trying to, like, actually organize these, especially what's going to happen later on. So here we are with the basically the titular personalized item for Ray Thunder. We have the Ray Thunder, or the Thunder Armor card holder and such, to which obviously you can kind of assume what this isn't heavily inspired by, but to go off of the base assets of, like, how these card holders work, as you can see from the glare accessory, this is entirely reflective because it's essentially a mirror. So obviously I have to censor that, but at the same time, obviously I want to show just how scraped up this mirror tends to get, which is super unfortunate, but it collects a lot of dust and gets scratched up easily. But for the rest of this, we will just have to cover this up, because obviously we have to focus on the bike handle, which kind of seems off from his design. But we have a simple handle right here, and we got gold chrome right there to follow along the Star Rail summoning belt. Then we have gold paint, or is this gold paint or gold plastic? I'm pretty sure it's plastic. Wrapped around the mirror, and then the transparent pink plastic to replicate the thunder. Speaker hole right there. We have basically kind of like a bike exhaust. Like, we have a spring right there. We have a loophole. We have a finger hole for you to hold through here, because you hold it like this and such. But then turning to the back, it's actually this way, because obviously the middle part here, we need the Star Rail to actually be facing upwards. And then the back is pretty basic. We have a button right here. We got blue paint around the handle. And then this is actually where you're going to insert the card. But we'll turn it right back up for the copyright stuff. And obviously the arrow here is painted really nicely. And, you know, again, like, it's a really interesting concept for a card holder and such. Now, typically, this is where you pull the pull tab out and such, as it makes its own sounds. It's 3 LR44 stacked on top of each other. However, unfortunately, the type of pull tab this comes with, it snapped on me. So, and I just lost the other half yesterday, as it fell on my leg and then disappeared. So I'm just going to use the pull tab from this thing, but obviously just know it comes with that round one. You will see that pull tab 2 days if it actually lasts. But the reason why the pull tabs are really sensitive is because these are really dug in really deeply. So because of that, it really, like, because these are just plastic, they're going to end up snapping and such. So I'll do that again, because that's the sound you get, but you do get it from up here too. So yeah, you get a red LED for doing that and such. You don't get anything from revving it, and unlike the boost buckle, you can't twist it both ways because of how this mechanism works. It's only a one-way mechanism. But at least the handle is a nice size. It does fit your hand all the way. Like, you know, my pinky is like on this rim and such. So I think it's longer than the boost buckle. But excuse me. If we were to press the button right here, you get just sounds of lightning. And then nothing back here until you insert a card. Again, for the sake of this video, I will use the normal one and such. Now, to insert a shine card into the card holder, you want to try to align the card into these small slits and try to you basically need to kind of set this on the edge and then just slide it through. And then it will acknowledge that you inserted a card. It doesn't light up on the other end, as this is now the primary LED, but we will do that again from the front perspective. This one, it's not supposed to do that, but when you remove a card, it's supposed to just turn off, but I don't know why I kind of do know why it keeps activating, but if you were to insert a card from this perspective, as you can see, it's not supposed to light up. And this functions the same. You can literally insert any shine card, but we will go over that. But unfortunately, I think what I want to get into is that it's really tight. Like, it's in there nicely, but you really have to press into the plastic to get it out. Like, I think it's doing a lot better now, but I think that's just because you're wearing the cards out. So, like, you have to really use your thumb to, like, get it in and out and such. And obviously align it to make sure that you're not denting the card and such, because obviously from this perspective, unfortunately with how it's designed, the card is kind of sticking out just a bit. So you are gonna end up bending the card because it's not fully, the way this holder is, it's not fully encapsulating the card and such. But other than that, that is kind of it for the basics of this. And again, because you keep having to press into this, it's just not, I don't know, like, it's at least secure, but like, I don't know, I'm kind of worried with how this entire thing will work. So obviously, there's an on and off switch back here, so if you were to do so, and then if we just happen to let this sit, we get that announcement, which basically that translates to armor depleted. This is to replicate what happens within the first episode. But basically, you get that phrase when your batteries are dying. And I kept this like that for like months. So, obviously when I was preparing for these reviews, that's when I finally decided to switch the batteries out. So, it's genuinely annoying playing with this thing with dead batteries, because you're going to keep getting that announcement for everything you do. So this is with fresh batteries. As you can tell, it's a lot louder, and the ringing or the circulation of the LEDs are not as dead and such. Now, you can't really do anything with this by itself. So, you can, like, if you want to, you can insert this, but it's not going to do anything, because this thing works through voice activation. So, unfortunately, I can't get the box out. So I'm going to have to see if I kept a picture of the instructions. There. So, here's a portion of the instructions I took. This is where it tells you the commands you're supposed to say to this thing, to which there are up to 5, or there's up to 4, because this first one is what you need to say to awaken it, and then these 4 other commands are for what color you want to get projected and such. So, to awaken the belt itself, you have to say shine card, to which are these things. However, obviously, as you can tell, when it actually works correctly, just obviously it's not picking up anything I'm saying to it, because obviously, first of all, I did not mention this, but this little hole here is the microphone. So, obviously, because this thing is a toy from China, you have to speak Chinese to it. Obviously, what specific type of dialect of Chinese? Mandarin. So, we will block this because I'll show you. I have to show you how you're supposed to say it. And it awoken. So, I mean, the thing is that you can keep repeating it. So, like, I assume, or like, I'm going to try my best to like pronounce these things, but obviously, This is not a language I'm proficient in. So, Long Ka. So again, to awaken it, you just say Long Ka. And then after that, you say one of 4 phrases. But for this video, we only say 2 of them. So obviously, to transform into Ray Thunder, we have to say Ray Thunder. But obviously, how do you say that? How do you say that in Mandarin? I need to remember which one it is.
停药.
As you can tell, it's still active, surprisingly. This is one of the few flaws of the microphone, is that after you announce Long Ka, if you just speak, for the most part, it will just pick up whatever you're saying, and it'll think you're saying one of the 4 commands. Sometimes it happens to that when it thinks you're saying Long Ka, but most of the time it does that when you're in the transformation phase. So, obviously to transform into Ray Thunder, we say Ting Yao. As you can see from here, it's a blue LED. And we have a full lyrical standby standby. And now we'll get to the second verse, essentially, as it stops lighting up. But it just stops. It's kind of weird, but I think it is a pretty neat standby. It is fully translated, obviously, if you watch the show. It's like when the star shatters the darkness, it just repeats that. But again, we will do that entire process and such. So we have to say Long Ka and Ting Yao and such. So after we do that, we need to load the shine card into the card holder, and then load the card holder into this empty slot, and then rev the card holder up to complete the transformation. So, Long Ka, Ting Yao. And there we transform into Ray Thunder, or Armor Hero Ray Thunder. To which, I really do like the silhouette of the belt and such. I really do like how the handle just kind of like extends the look of the belt, but I also like, you know, without the handle, I really do like the simple form factor silhouette it makes and such. And I have to point this out, the version I'm covering here of the Star Ray Summoning Belt is the second version, because the original version, one of the things about it that they fixed with this one, or changed with this one, is that for the main 3 Star Ray characters, they changed the Kaija Huti announcement to be an announcement from an actual person, as prior, for the first release, it was an AI voice. So now we can rev this up, but it's not going to do anything besides lighting it up. So now, to use our shine cards while transformed, obviously, we just simply scan them to the side right here, in this card slot. I forgot to show this, but you can have it misread. not glittery like that. I meant in the sense that, like that, not glittery doing that. So again, we would do this one again. So again, just basically slide it down like so. Obviously announced Ray Thunder armor. Now for the Thunder Fist that you've already heard prior. Last but not least, let's summon the Thunder Hammer, or like Lightning Hammer and Thunder Cone. I'm pretty sure it's just the Thunder Hammer or Thunder Cone. As you can hear from here, you do get thunder sounds associated with when you scan these things, which is pretty cool and such. Now, if we were to use Eagle Man on the side, forgot to actually play this out. Forgot to mention, I really do like the standby for this toy. So as you can hear from there, it did a attribute sound of that armor, and then that traditional like ending sound that I think you've already heard with these. Because the way these cards work, ideally, from what they've shown from the toy demonstrations, is that for any armor that uses any previous Armor Hero card, they summon that armor out and such. So technically, we did a summon and such. However, if we were to use Eagle Man in here, to which it obviously still says Thunderbolt, to which, in this case, if we call out Kaija, the LED is now yellow. You shout out Kaija whenever you are transforming into a prior armor. As you can see here, the LED is still blue. And there we have the transformation sound of Eagle Man. This is supposed to announce itself, but sometimes it doesn't do that. But yeah, again, we get the transformation sound of Eagle Man. But if you notice from the video of this thing, the Kaija Huti announcement is still wrong, technically. Because the Kaija Huti announcement for all of the armors from the first series is the Kaija Huti announcement for the Emperor Hero belt. This technically wouldn't have been wrong if we actually saw Dragon Man and Eagle Man transform in the movie. But they don't transform in the movie. They just show up. But I mean, for the most part, it's at least a Kaija Huti that was actually from existing media and not just made up like the Legend of Armor Hero version. Now, if we do the Wind Eagle kick. Sorry. As you can see from that, or as you can hear from that, because we are using, despite this being a thunder attribute, it's doing wind sounds. So if we were to do, the Thunder Fist again. So I should have demonstrated this with Ray Thunder, but if Ray Thunder and Eagle Man, basically what they did with this toy is that they kind of categorized, they kind of combined certain categories together. So obviously Thunder is kind of Thunder is not a new attribute, but like, you know, there was not necessarily a wind associated armor hero, but like they needed someone to actually, they paired Thunder or Lightning, Thunder, and Wind together, which is why despite this being different from, or despite being Thunder being different from Wind, you will still get wind sounds out of Thunder. You will still get Thunder sounds out of Wind. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense and such. But yeah, this is really going to be an hour-long video. I apologize. That is really bad on my end. But, okay, I thought I was already 40 minutes in. Oh, I am. But, I mean, so we would try to close this at 50. But anyways, overall what I think about the base set, overall for the Star Ray summoning belt, as we'll genericize it as, even though it's called the Thunder Armor summoning belt. In a technicality sense, this is called the Lightning Ascender, but I don't know, the names are always inconsistent, which is why we're calling it the Star Ray summoning belt. I think this is a pretty solid set. For what you get, I think it does a good job at like rounding out just the basics of like what to expect out of the toy line and such. You know, by giving us like the 3 card types, and then giving us the 3 card types, giving us a feel of how to transform with this thing, and then, you know, as a bonus, giving us a previous Armor Heroes set of cards, even though, again, this is not all of it, but, like, again, like, this is, like, a really nice assortment of of contents to, like, mess around with and such. And, you know, again, the card holder, again, sorry for keep saying it again, it's a really fun idea of just making the card holders the individualized item to symbolize which character you're transforming into and such, because again, it's really fun. you're supposed to you're supposed to twirl it on your hand, but I won't do it in front of camera. I can do it, but it's just, again, I guess as a disclaimer, obviously you're gonna have to make yourself learn a little bit of like just simple Mandarin phrases. Is this off so then it doesn't activate? You're gonna have to learn how to say Long Ka, and then like, you know, Ting Yao, and then Kaija is kind of the easiest one, just because it's the reason why they stuck with Kaija was because they wanted consumers to like literally replicate how, for the majority of the series, the transformations were like called out. So like, obviously in like the first series, for Eagle Man's transformation, like, I'm gonna butcher this unfortunately, but like how obviously his transformation call out will be like Fei Yin Kaija, like Huti and such. So obviously they wanted to replicate that with this belt and such. So like, obviously when you're playing with this, they want you to shout Fei Yin Kaija, and then, you know, play as you like and such. So essentially, when you call out Kaija, you're supposed to call out the armor name of the card you're using. Obviously, except for if you're using the 3 main, transforming into the 3 main Star Ray characters and such. And like, again, like, it was probably done before the show, but like, I think it's kind of weird of how opposite it is to call out for the voice commands and such, because in the show, they call out their armor first. So, like, they shout out, like, Ting Yao first, and then apply the belt to them. And then they shout out Lung Ka and such. But here, you have to do the opposite. You have to shout out Lung Ka and then the armor name. I get it, because you have to select which color you want to play out during the standby. But, like, I don't know. I assume it's just because, it was before the actual show went to production. Also, I think from what I've seen, this thing is missing a sound that was originally, like, heavily promoted, and that's the sound for when this thing gets applied to your waist. This thing is supposed to say judgment. So basically, they call out, like, Ting Yao, apply it to the waist. It screams out judgment and then does the standby. But we don't. It's just not here and such. And then I want to obviously readdress that. That despite this being the second version of this release, like, I already announced that the Kaija Hoodie announcements for all three armor, like, Star Ray armors, were redone and such. They did fix another thing in regards to an unreleased card for some reason. But they did not bother to fix another thing, or again, like I said before, they did not bother to go back and, like, change the Kaija Hoodie announcements to be more show accurate and such. But I just find that really baffling. But, like, I mean, I guess it's more important that they change the actual main cards, or they, like, fix that and such. But I think the last thing I wanted to bring up is just be aware of QC. As you've already known, mine did not get a battery cover, and I don't know if I can, but I want to try to track down an original released Star Ray summoning belt to take the back cover of. So then I can have that AI Kaija Hoodie version with no battery cover. So then this one gets the battery cover. But also, it was also pointed out too, like, from Long's Toys video of this months ago, his is actually missing the gold paint here. But I don't think a lot of people pointed that out as much. But, like, I because it's not as glaring as missing an entire integral piece. So again, just be really wary trying to pick this thing up. Speaking of which, I got this thing off of Collectibles when it was originally still up there. They haven't restocked since. So I would say to, like, go out on Superbuy and just import it that way. It's a lot cheaper. It's only $42 as opposed to the $90 Collectibles had for this, which I guess makes sense because you have to accommodate for shipping, but, like, still kind of was the reason why I didn't get the weapons, because they were overcharging them. But they just announced that they're placing tariffs in Japan and Korea, so it's just like, buy this at your own discretion kind of thing. However, I think what I want to conclude this at is that I think definitely for sure, this is definitely, like, the most content-heavy Armor Hero summoning device we've had since the franchise. Because I think the closest you can say that is, like, the most high quote-unquote high-tech one is the lava summoners, because they were going off of NFC, but like they were really limited on what they were able to read, kind of thing. They were only able to read up to like 8 energy keys per belt and such, so it wasn't really as much. And again, the Captor summoning belt worked off of their own like devices and such. So this one, I think it is smart for them to go off of cards and doing the barcode thing again, because it allows them to pump out a bunch of cards, obviously, for everyone's like, so then everyone can get their favorite armor hero, like set of armor hero from the franchise, and just have that and such. To which I forgot to mention, if we were to use a card that's not a transformation card, Lung Ka, Ting Yao, Ting Yao. As you can see, it's a white LED still. It just acts like you didn't put in a card. I forgot to bring that up, but so like, again, you can be ignorant and be like, oh, they're just ripping off Decade, but like, why wouldn't you do cards for your anniversary? Like, it makes sense. It's the easiest way of just commemorating 15 years of a franchise that way and such. I won't get into it here, but like, obviously it's not really that well executed, but like, again, for the like, we're just talking about the base set. The base set itself it's solid. It's good. I recommend trying to get this, or like try to secure one if you can, and such through these really dubious times. But yeah. Again, I have nothing but like, alright. I mean, I already said some of my gripes about it, but like, it's just mostly I have a lot of praises for this thing, and it's like a really solid armor hero toy that kind of does, like, if you've not collected any other series prior, and if this is your first armor hero device, it's definitely going to spoil you on your expectations for the other stuff, which is why I covered this latter than the other stuff. I'm talking for too long. This is Ryder, and I'll leave people by. I'll have to do with this review.